Trust Point One, just a fantastic paralegal. So we were talking to paralegals yesterday on the show. So yeah, we'll just let Ryan in whenever he gets here. So hey everyone,
he's late.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey everyone, I am Jim Gast, and I got a question for you. First off, I'm going to make a statement before the question. It's simple. If you ain't growing, you're dying. And that's just a simple fundamental in nature. Are you having problems getting sales right now? You shouldn't be. A lot of industries should not be having problems getting sales right now. But the fact is, if you're not growing, you're dying. It's nearly true of everything in nature, without a doubt. And especially business. We all know this. But getting new deals is not easy. I mean, it's really hard. If everybody could get deals and new customers, well, you know what? We'd all be millionaires. I'm not a millionaire. Are any of you guys millionaires that I'm not aware of? And then I guess getting sales is just pretty darn hard. And so the truth is there's no shortcut to getting sales. Everybody's got some kind of, this is the best way to close more deals quicker and so on and so forth. It just isn't true. There's no shortcuts. But, and a big exclamation point on that, there are things you can do to improve your chances of closing deals. And that's what me and the Reboot Crew are going to talk about today. But before we get started, welcome back to the Reboot. I'm Jim Gast, and I appreciate you joining us. So the Reboot is here every week to help business owners and business principals make better decisions that are important to their businesses in the areas of marketing, sales, operation, human resources, technology, cybersecurity, so on and so on and so forth. We are all business owners, and we have to make these decisions every day. We interact with business owners all the time, and they need to make these decisions. So we're really good at it. And joining me today are my friends.
Hey, I'm Dave Groot with WinStar Technologies in Culpeper, Virginia.
I'm David Luft with LDD Consulting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I'm Stephanie Groot with WinStar Technologies in Culpeper, Virginia.
Brian Bradley, BNLPC Solutions on Long Island in New York.
And of course, I'm Jim Gast with SpliceNet Consulting. Today's show is 10 tips to close more sales. Guys, I'm going to start us off. I just love this tip. Believe it or not, we're doing it right now. LinkedIn is a tremendous resource in so many different ways. We're live streaming to LinkedIn. We're live streaming to Facebook. We're live streaming to YouTube. And we can be live streaming to a bunch of other platforms. My tip is network with LinkedIn. Why do we want to network with LinkedIn? In my opinion, not because we're going to get sales directly from it, but we're going to meet people. We're going to get name recognition. And the reason we live stream, one of the reasons we live stream should be no secret to anyone. We want reputation. We want people to know us. So I believe by getting yourself out there and letting people see and hear from you before you even try to sell them, I think that that's a better sales tip than some of the things that I've done in the past, right? Anyone else?
I think you should just bring your dog with you.
My wife recommended it today. We've got an ugly sweater for the dog that we're going to probably put on it, and I'll bring it on the show the next time.
I think that works. Certainly.
No, everybody likes puppies, right? I get those puppy pictures on LinkedIn, and I get a lot of response to those puppy pictures. I don't know why. Everybody likes a puppy, I suppose.
Right.
Anybody else got a great sales tip? Something they've done for years that just works? What do we do when an opportunity goes quiet? Do you guys have processes and techniques for that?
I think the biggest thing is just being super responsive. The faster you can help somebody, they just appreciate the heck out of that. And then,
it's been a balancing act in our industry, and I kind of struggle with it, but I've been trying to, remove barriers, right? You want to make it easy for somebody to do business with you, but we're in such a regulated industry, or like the industry itself is not regulated, but the stuff that we're doing in Fort Folks is, and it's hard to just I think that, I don't know, this isn't how to close more sales, but where I always fall flat is when the agreement comes to play, right? Okay, now we have 12 pages of paperwork we need to go through and we need you to sign, and And if you don't have that, you're not A, informing the client well, and B, you're not protecting yourself and them. And so how do you simplify that, right? Because removing barriers is a big thing. I mean, I think that's how you close more sales. You make it easy to do business. People like convenience. But when you're talking about something like security or data governance or compliance or insider threats or any of those kinds of things, you cannot be half-assed, right?
Do you think, I mean, I know that we are all in professional services. We're all managed service providers. But my question, do you think that a CPA has a master customer agreement?
Yeah.
No, they do. You see
I
that?
guarantee I've signed to get my taxes done. I have to sign an agreement. Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting enough, mine's never asked for a customer agreement, which is, hey, I'm not complaining about that. What about engineers and architects? Do you think they have similar? I know lawyers do. They have fee agreements.
I mean, you don't think, like, isn't that the schedule of, like, I mean, blueprints are an agreement, right? Specs are an agreement. You know, timelines, project management, like that's all part of the agreement.
Right. I think that you're correct in that our industry has a lot more liability directly from
exposure, right?
Exposure, right? And candidly, I think we're like that big store with the red target on the side of it. You know, we're a target.
Walmart?
The industry is, and so we have.
No, he's talking about David. He's talking about Target, the store.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that? Talking about Target. My wife likes to shop there. I try to keep her from it because she spends too much money. But I digress. No, we're in an industry that's not regulated necessarily, but we need to act like we are. And so it is tough when we have to put down those pieces of paper in front of
But I
us.
think that's towards I think that's kind of obviously post engagement, and that's at the contract signing. So but it's hard enough to get to that point. I mean, we know it's a rigorous task, the amount of marketing that we do and phone calls that are made just to get an appointment. You get that appointment, it may not be a fit even after you do your due diligence beforehand. So Jim, one of the things that we do is you try to find something unique about your company or your services versus a competitor to try to close a deal. Like one of the things we do is we get full vetted reports on our vendors. So all of our vendors go through an annual process with the company we engage with, and they do diligence on that vendor, make sure that all their boxes are checked. And once they are, we get the seal of approval. We provide that to prospects. But that's a huge differentiator that a lot of our competitors don't do. So you have something like that. You find something, when you're up looking at buying a car, for example, it comes down to what? Price. I mean, that's really what you're shopping for. Whereas here, you want to make sure that you're offering the same services as a competitor, preferably something a little better and more tuned to their environment, but also come up with a differentiator. And one of the second things we do is and we get beat up for it sometimes by you guys, but we don't charge an onboarding fee. So, we take that day, we tell the client there's a zero charge for that. We'll spend the day with you guys. I want the techs to get to know you, build a relationship, see how your office functions, spend the day and just learn your environment. And, we can easily charge, a contract price or daily rate for that. But the fact that we don't, and we market that, no onboarding fees ever. And we use that to our advantage. And I think that, those two little tips, come up with something and maybe give something away. We give out after we meet with somebody, we send out our boxes, our shock and awe box, right?
So that's another great one right there.
Swag. It has, company branded, books, pens, whatever it is. Just send something quickly though. You don't want to let a week or two go by. You want to keep it hot.
Yeah.
I think to increase your odds of closing, what I've learned recently is it's extremely important to start in the very beginning with numbers, right? Like be floating numbers in the conversation from the very start, because everything has a price and everybody starts to look at that ultimately, right? They think it's all the same service, the same product, the same whatever. And so if you can get that out ahead of time and prepare them for that, whatever that conversation is going to be, that softens it when you're sitting down at the table with the
I agree
proposal.
with that.
So it makes it so that when you get to that paperwork, when you get to that quoting point, they're not surprised. You gave
Right.
them a range
Right.
already, and you know if they're ready for that range or not.
Yeah.
Right. And you didn't spend a lot of time, wasting their time. I mean, if they can't afford the service that you want to deliver to them, then everybody should know that ahead of time.
Or if
They don't see the value in it.
or if they're
they might-
expecting something different too.
Correct.
So you're almost you're pre-qualifying them. You're re-qualifying them once you've met them and talked to them, which makes good sense. Yeah, if I get a sales lead, I pounce on that like a lion on food, right? If it comes in, if I don't hit it within the first 5 minutes, however that lead comes, however that prospect comes, I feel like I failed.
Yeah.
Are you guys as fast? You guys consider it to be that important too?
Without a doubt. Without a
Yeah.
doubt. I mean, we offer the chat service right on our website, and I met with somebody a couple of weeks ago just based on initiated a chat session asking questions on what we can do. When can we get a price? And I said, I'll be there in an hour. And that was, if that wasn't responded to, he's on to the next result on his search. I mean, and that's, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing. But if you're giving me an option for that instant communication and you don't provide it, I mean, you failed right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So two things there, actually. I think, Brian, what I said was pounce on the opportunity when it comes, right? Do not delay. It's hot, hot, hot. The second thing is that opportunity, right? When it comes, what was the last part about that? Hold on. I just lost my train of thought on that. The
chat.
The chat. Oh yeah. Make it easy for people to talk to you,
Well, that's
right?
right.
Get with you. Right? Can they call you? Can they email you? Can they chat your website? Can they whatever, right? Instant message you, Facebook Messenger. I don't care what it is, but lower that barrier of communication to make it so they can get to you fast. Because everybody has different modes of communication, right? I'll actually do text messaging right away. I don't mind that. I've done it plenty of times. We had an opportunity come in a few weeks ago that I took it right away, talked to the guy right away. First person they wanted to talk to, right? That they got to talk to. And he wanted something done that should have taken no less than 30 days. And he wanted a quote the next day. What a big deal had we had the right amount of time for it. But unfortunately, I told him I'm not going to be able to deliver that in 2 weeks unless you want to pay some super exorbitant price. And I was honest with him. So it's just as beneficial. You know what the guy said to me? He said, you know what? He said, I'm going to pass on you for this deal right here, but I'm going to call you back because I liked your honesty. Happened more than once.
Yeah.
When you say, I just can't do it, when you're honest with people, most people just say, I can and move on and fail.
Right.
So,
So
Brian,
learning to say no is what you're saying.
Learning to say the right thing, the truthful thing.
Yeah.
If it is
Be
no,
honest.
then it's no. Right.
Yeah, just be honest. I've had customers say the same thing when we've told them, this is a mess, or no, I don't like that idea. They really appreciate the fact that you're not just agreeing with them, trying to seem like a salesman.
And that's another great tip. Don't be a salesperson. You're a consultant. I mean, if somebody's asking you for a solution, asking you for something, you're consulting for them, and you just should be just direct and honest if you don't think it's the right thing to do. Brian, you said something a little bit ago and skimmed right over top of it. Tell us about the idea of not necessarily the exact what it is, because I know everybody does it different, but the idea of a shock and awe box. What would some other industries do with something like that? What is that?
So it's basically some type of something tangible that you would send to the prospect after you have a meeting with them, and it's like for us, we send a box that's branded with our logo on it and all of our stuff all around it, and we fill it up with tchotchkes, all these all the swag and magazine. We have a magazine out there. You put your book in there. And it just and along with that, additional documentation about your company or guarantee, a nice thick company branded folder with additional information on it. It's just something that they get the next day or 2 days later that again reminds them that of who you are. You value them, and you're giving them something that's usable, and just stay fresh in their mind. And you follow up with a subsequent phone call, the day after they get that, and just kind of keep it hot. You don't want it to get cool at all.
Yep.
And you want to, ultimately you want to gain their business. I mean, that's the goal there.
And that's different. Most people don't do something like that.
Right.
That to me falls under the category of pre-closing, right?
Mhm.
So it should give them some information that makes them feel better and trust you more, right? I think that's incredibly valuable. Testimonials, guys. Do you guys use testimonials anywhere?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What do you guys use? What do you all do with testimonials?
Well, it's funny you should say that. I had within the last 2 weeks, somebody call me up that has an insurance broker upstate, not even from here, did a Google search for their client and said, this guy's got almost 30 reviews out of all the companies we looked at. Go with, not only call him, but go with him based on the reviews that we have on our website through we do the Google reviews, and we try to market that too. We put out client of the month or review of the month, whatever. Just try to market that. But it's the things like that you wouldn't think, but we look at our competitors. They're not nowhere near us. So something that there's value in that.
But if you look at everything, when you're buying stuff anymore online, you always look
Reviews.
at the reviews. So those are critical.
Mhm.
So it's definitely worth the effort.
Yeah, I actually I have 6 pages of testimonials of customer success stories, all from people at different businesses. We put that in our shock and awe box, right? Our shock and awe materials, and I reinforce it in my sales presentation. Do you guys do sales presentations or do you just review quotes?
I started presentations from you. I used to literally write up the contract and review it with the client. And then about 3 months ago, when I heard you saying that you do presentations, I have Michelle Brands a full presentation with their logo on it. It makes it, I mean, it's a much nicer presentation, and it's much easier to go through because we put out all the logos of our partners on there, and their information, a little history about us, more than they would get with the way we were doing it with the contract.
No wonder you're going out of business. You're copying me on something. Yeah, sales presentations. And you know what I like about the sales presentation? It doesn't focus on the dollar.
Mm-mm.
You lead up to it, of course, right? For me, the process is building, right? I'm building that value, trust. Okay, here's what I think. Now I can tell you what I think. Here's where you're at. Here's what I think. And here's what it's going to cost you to get to where I think you should be. To me, that's a nice process, right? So that to me goes to consistency in your process. Do the same thing over and over again.
Yep.
We try and find out what the customer's goals are and just really review their environment and what their issues are that they're having so that we can identify if we can address them or not.
Yeah. And you know what? They usually tell it to you in that meeting, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
And, if you're a salesperson and you're out there and you're trying to sell something and it's like, I'm trying to sell this, that's the wrong thing. You're trying to sell a solution to the customer's problem. So what you said, David, listen to their problem and answer their problem, right?
Well, there's a reason they're reaching out, right? So there's your end.
Yeah.
And we usually try and find out also, what are your long-term goals? Because we just met with one company and, he's like, oh, well, we're going to be buying another one too. And so, then and can help understand what you want to try and provide them service-wise. So that you can accommodate whatever their future plans are.
Do you guys ever ask for a referral from somebody you just sat down and proposed?
I don't do that well enough.
I don't either.
I don't want to get a referral from somebody till we've worked with them for 6 months and they really know us.
Okay.
Then I'm going to differ with you on that, man. I want a referral whenever they want to give me a referral. If they feel good enough, man, these guys' process is really good. We haven't even bought from them yet, but I know so-and-so over here is thinking about this. I want that right away myself, Don't get me wrong, you can't fail in operations. If you're failing operations and delivery, what good is it, right? Because they're going to fire you anyway. But I don't ask enough is what I don't do. But David, at least you ask, right?
We'll
I can't
reach
say I
out.
do it well enough. I know I need to, but
Yeah.
No, we'll reach out if we have customers that, I know they're really happy with us. And some people will tell us, if you ever need a referral, let me know. But I always like to wait. If they give me one and I haven't asked, that's fine. I'll take it. But I won't ask until we've been with them for like 6 months or so, because I want to make sure that they're actually happy.
You know what? They'll never be more happy. This is a point right here. We all know this. They'll never be more happy than the minute they're signing that paperwork. At that point, they're the happiest, and you have to try to keep it up there.
Well, that's
Time
true.
to-
That's
right.
You get a new car as you're leaving. The guy's like, "Here's my card. If you know anybody, and you get an email by the time you get home. They want more business.
Yeah. But
It's
what about when they go quiet? What do you guys do when they go quiet on you? When somebody ghosts you?
send
love
them a
that
very
word, by the way, ghosting.
short email and just ask a very simple question.
Yeah.
Have you reconsidered? Or
Yeah.
I have a ghost for the last 18 months. He's still haunting somewhere. I still
Yeah.
reach out.
What are you doing? What are you doing to
responsive.
what are you doing to reach out to him? Give us a simple example.
Just forward my previous emails to him and along with his replies. He'll say to ping me in 2 months, 3 months. I'm in the middle of this, and just wanted to check in. I know that see if you're still interested. Number one, and if the response is always yes, we'll get there. And listen, it's you got to do it. It's
Sure.
all a lot of automation there. We have the tools, and that's important too. Something else to consider is some kind of tool set to be able to do these reminders for you and send out these emails and follow ups, so you don't have to preoccupy yourself with all this stuff that you have to follow up on. It's all there. It's all in the system. It makes it
Right.
so much easier.
Yep. A CRM or a marketing system that
Yep.
tells you what to do instead of you having to remember what you have to do.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man, I think we're way past 10. We're way past 10 here.
We got 13 and a half.
Were we supposed to stop at 10?
No, we don't have it. Let's just keep going. I'm going to throw a couple things out there rapid fire. You guys know the alligator email?
Yes.
I love the alligator email. I'm going to tell you what our mutual mentor, right? Robin Robbins, will plug her right here. She's fantastic. She taught us all about the alligator email. And it's an email basically for somebody that ghosted you. Did you get eaten by alligators, right? And it's supposed to be funny. And it's actually pretty funny. Check here if you were eaten by alligators, and I should send flowers to your family. Check here, no, haven't been eaten by alligators, but you're going to wish I had been, because we're going to say no, we want another way. No, at least you got an answer. Or, check here if no, I haven't been eaten by alligators. We're just taking way too long and we're bogged down in the swamp or something like that. I will tell you that every time I send the alligator email, I get a response. And always a positive one first, which is, that was funny, thank you, almost, right? And then I get the honest answer, and 80% of the time the honest answer is, we're just taking our time. One time I got an honest response. The last time I sent it to somebody, you're just way too expensive. And it started a dialogue, So it's very offsetting. Another thing I do when I deliver a proposal, and there's variations on this, and if you guys have variations, I have a cake made up, a splice net cake made up. Then we cut the corner out of the cake, right? And I put a little piece of paper in there that restates their problems in a way that then this is the solution to your problem. And essentially on the cake, I say, we're the missing piece. Of course, I have a branded piece of paper there, right? Now we get to taste test that corner because we get to keep it here at the office. And I send that cake to them right after I delivered the proposal that next day. So it's fresh in their mind. You guys ever do anything similar?
Mm-mm.
I've heard of people sending pizzas with a piece missing. I've heard of people sending a basket of green apples with one red one on the top, just showing that you're different in a way. So that's a couple of things that I've done. And every time I send the cake, again, a response, and it is a 90% close whenever I send the cake. So,
I like
yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? It's this stuff works. Well, guys, any last words of wisdom? Oh gosh.
Don't
there was
slow
so much-
down.
I will say I've been kind of quiet, but I've been taking notes, and I just is listening to the people is the biggest thing. Listen to their pain points, being honest, listen to their goals too is a key, and I think that works into their budget, so you can reinforce the money of why the expenses cost this, and and the sales presentation that was really good.
I think get experience losing deals, right? Find out why you're losing. And
Right.
go through that, and as much as it sucks, you'll get better. You'll get better at presenting.
Can I advise you not to go try to lose sales to get the
No,
experience?
No, if I miss out on a sale for whatever reason, I always go back and ask them, who did you go with?
Right.
What was the main reason?
Yeah.
And don't try and resell them.
Right.
Just make sure they know you're there.
David, David agreed. I agree. Never give up. I will email cold opportunities that didn't close or said no year after year after year. I'm working on 3 of them right now, and or people that have actually let us go. Hey, we're different. We've changed, so on and so forth. And the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You're right. You guys, all these are fantastic points. You're right, everyone. Listen, thanks again for joining us on the Reboot. And remember, we're here every single week. You can go to LinkedIn and do hashtag the Reboot to find us, or you can go to YouTube and find us there by searching the Reboot. We're on all the major platforms. We have a competitor called the Reboot Podcast. That's not us. We're the pretty color yellow color logo, the Reboot. So we shall see everybody next week, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.